Well, human rights are relevant to business for two main reasons. One is that if businesses ensure diversity, health and safety, fair employment practices, engagement practices, they will be meeting international and Australian standards for human rights. And that in itself, of course, is a good thing. But the second reason, and one that will always appeal to business, is that you can actually improve the bottom line. You can improve the outcome of productivity within a business if you have a diverse environment in which that creativity and productivity becomes possible. And we have at the Australian Human Rights Commission done some research with the assistance of Deloitte Economics, who have been looking at what would be the impact if we employed, let's say, 5% more older people. By older I mean over 55. What will be the impact on the economy? And it's been absolutely extraordinary that were businesses to improve their employment of older people, that would bring in on average annually $48 billion to the Australian economy. And we find not dissimilar kinds of outcomes where you look at increasing the employment of women. We would like to see much greater employment of those with disability, or for companies which have taken up the lead on human rights issues, where they go to their supply chains to encourage those from which they get goods and services to ensure that those organisations also are meeting human rights. Well, there are, of course, core binding principles of domestic law that businesses must meet. They must employ in non-discriminatory ways. They mustn't discriminate on the grounds of race, pregnancy, sexual orientation, or on the grounds of disability or age. So there are basic domestic laws, but also companies now and businesses are much engaged with the international best practice standards, and they are really indicated by the United Nations guiding principles on business and human rights, and they've been specifically adopted by the Human Rights Council. In particular, there are three pillars to these international best practices: protect, respect and to remedy. And we would like to see companies understand the value to their business of meeting that international best practice by reference to those key pillars of respecting human rights. Well, I think businesses do need to perhaps deal with the challenge within their businesses that not everybody really understands the value of diversity, in particular within the business. And I think that that needs to be understood. And of course, businesses can deal with this. Also risk management in relation to their reputation. That's not necessarily legally driven, but culturally driven, where expectations are high. So I think what businesses can do is support things like the Human Rights Day of the United Nations. They could have seminars or morning teas to celebrate those within the business who've picked up human rights concerns. I think one aspect of it is that we'd rather like to see not a siloing of human rights as being a sort of department of a major company, but where you've actually integrated human rights across the whole company. And those are the things that I think are challenges for the future that we would like to see companies think about. Well, the Commission is celebrating Human Rights Day, the 10th of December, down at the Museum of Contemporary Art here on Circular Quay in Sydney. It's a great event, and we do it by recognising 10 people from the Australian community who have, in one way or another, made a significant contribution to human rights. So we're hoping everybody can join us. It's a cocktail party, lots of opportunity to meet friends, meet new friends, and to meet those who've been really our heroes of human rights in the last year.